Everybody, welcome to Scattered Chaos Podcast. I'm Dave Uziel. If you didn't know, now you know. This is a really long-time good friend and one of many co-hosts I'm going to have on here, Jeff Downs. What's up, Jeff?
Everybody?
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you.
So for you guys that don't know me, my name is Dave Uziel. I'm the owner of Urban Worldwide. We're a transportation company based in the Bay Area. Along with some other endeavors that I've got, we've got an Amazon delivery partnership. We have Urban Pause, which we're going to talk about today.
And lifestyles.
Urban Lifestyles.
Yep,
and now we're excited to announce that I've decided to buy a barber shop.
Yeah, you can see Dave's need for that.
Yeah, I definitely need a barber shop for myself. I mean, the bald guy with the barber shop. Dude, that could be like a new comedy show.
Definitely a t-shirt.
Definitely
Your
a
silhouette.
t-shirt. My little silhouette.
Yeah.
I got to get a little one of those characters. It's going to be interesting.
That's
Definitely,
good.
this is going to be a good one.
Well, you won't be their best customer.
No. I mean, I do go to my barber like once a week.
Of
I'm
course.
Not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, once a week to clean
Waxing?
Excuse me. We don't talk about that stuff
Sorry.
here. Yeah, we do.
Sorry.
I do that every 6 weeks. Just my back.
Oh, thought we were talking about it.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up anyways at some point in this podcast. But want to just introduce you a little bit.
Yeah.
So give an intro, and then I could tell them how I'm connected with you.
Well, long story. Dave, I actually met David when he was in the police academy.
Yes, I remember that.
I escorted him down to Los Angeles with the police academy class as a chaperone.
Yep.
So that's where it all started, the newbie. And
Yes.
then he ended up working for us at a local police department where I was his sergeant.
Yes, the best sergeant I've ever had.
But, well, that's nice of you.
Truth.
You were one of the best cops I had.
Thank you.
So it was easy.
Keep
No, it was
keep
easy.
going,
Stop.
keep going,
What is
keep
it?
going.
So that was where it kind of kicked off.
Yeah.
And then we kind of went our separate ways.
Yep.
It's been, I don't know, 10 plus.
10 plus years. We kept in touch though.
Yeah, we did.
Facebook, random text messages.
Well, it's always good being a Facebook friend.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a Facebook friend, it's not
What
official,
are you?
right?
Yeah, it's not official.
But yeah, so we kept in touch. You went to work for MSA.
Well, after my thing at the police department.
Which, by the way, we're going to do a full-on interview with Jeff down the road. But right now, this is about Urban Pause. I just want to give a little of the intro because he's going to be on the show with me a lot. And obviously, you can tell why we call this Scattered Chaos because we talk about a lot of shit randomly. So,
yeah, no particular order whatsoever.
order.
None.
Okay, let's go back to
So I did all that, retired from the police department, got a couple part-time jobs, ended up with private security firm, MSA, working a bomb dog, retired from that. And as I was retiring from that, looking for something to do, we kind of reconnected again.
Yeah.
And you said, come to work for me.
Yeah.
I want to do this thing. So
And you're here.
yeah, of course. This is the best.
It's crazy because we said, oh, you're going to come in as Urban Pause and you're going to be our director of fundraising, and then you ended up being the director of building shit, the director of building this podcast room. So give a round of applause for him. He's the one who built it, along with Tariq and Rodrigo, who are behind the camera, making sure that we look. Oh, there's a clap.
Nice. Oh, man. Hey, this is high level, man.
We're getting, whoa.
I like this.
This shit's going to be good.
Yeah, this is good.
Hey, Joe Rogan, watch out.
Yeah,
just
we're coming.
starting.
We're coming for you, Joe.
Maybe
We're
not right
coming.
now, but down the road we will. I promise you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we brought you in,
Yeah.
and it's been a fun road so far.
I've only been here for 6 months, and I feel like I've worked with you guys for years.
Yeah.
You know,
we've definitely made a culture here.
Yeah.
I think my dad always said, keep your employees as close to you as possible and make them feel like family. And I think it's easy for us to do that, especially when we have people we trust, right?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we'll probably hit down the road in some of the podcasts is how to maintain your employees and have a good work culture. And I think it's been really easy for me to have a good work culture here because of all the bad I've experienced in other places. And
it shapes you.
It shapes you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's twofolds because some people will say, the public sector is bad, the private sector. I think that they're both bad in their own ways. I was working a lot in the public sector and realized how bad management was.
Yeah.
And it causes this trickle-down effect that you don't even know it is until you're out of it.
Well, I think, first of all, it comes from the top, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the culture you've started here with your company, I experienced it the first night you had us here for an event for your company. I wasn't even working for you.
That's right.
And my wife and I walked away from here thinking, wow, Literally, we walked away saying that place is cool. I can't wait to work there.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I love it.
Well,
I
we're
love
happy.
it.
We're happy you're here.
Thank you.
Obviously, like Jeff said, he was my sergeant when we were in the police department together. Learned a lot from him on the sense of leadership, communication. I was a young cop. I was with 27 when I started with you.
Yeah.
26, 27. And
Yeah.
You don't realize how important maturity is when you start as a police officer, because it's all about run and gun, let's arrest people and put bad people in jail. But there's a lot of communication skills that you don't even realize you need.
Yeah, I think you were easy though. I mean, contrary to what others may think, you were a good cop. You were self-starter, didn't have to follow up with you. You did your stuff. That was easy for me.
Yeah.
And so I could focus on being more of a leader for you and trying to guide you and help you.
Yeah, mentor.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I realized with you is that you were my boss. When I did something wrong, you made sure that I knew but you mentored me to be better. You didn't just yell at me when I did something bad and not say to me, hey, you can do this better. You know, even when I did things wrong, it was never you never beat me down. Do you remember this story? Okay, I'm going to bring up a funny fact because Jenny brings it up all the time.
I'm older now, so.
Jenny is my wife, by the way, if you haven't ever met her. She's a character. But we were working swing shift or graveyards.
Well, we would have been on 12.
We were on 12, so graveyard.
Yeah.
So I told you that I was going to go meet my girlfriend at the time at Max's. And so she pulls in with her Beetle, parks backwards, and
I do remember.
I tried to be Mr. Cool, backed up, because you know that's a cool thing to do.
I totally remember
and then I damaged her car. And I was like, Sarge? Yes. I've been in a vehicle accident. Aren't you on lunch?
I do remember.
Yeah, I'll call your cell. I don't want to put it over the air.
Yeah.
And then I called you. I'm like, yeah, I just backed into my girlfriend's car. Can you come take the report for me?
Dude. I remember.
Jenny reminds me all the time.
What a way! That was a good way to start. By the way,
That was yeah. Luckily, I was already in like, maybe a year, because she hadn't gotten to college yet. Wait, no, she came back. I think it was from like she was coming back from college because she had the Beetle at the time. But yeah,
not a good start.
Not a good start. But again, somebody asked me why I wanted to do this podcast again. Before we had the Limo Lounge, which was just focused mainly on the limo business. And I just realized that like the way my brain thinks, there's like...
What's scattered?
It's completely scattered and it's chaotic. Do you it's funny because now that you've worked for me for like 6...
Oh, you're a savant, dude.
Dude, I don't even know what's up. Like 1 minute I'm talking about something, I'll be like, hey, I got an idea, guys. I got an idea.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so tell me.
Dave, I want to tell you something what's going on. Dave, as you walk away from me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rodrigo chases you around the warehouse.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I'm like, Rodrigo! And he's like not even in the warehouse at all.
Scattered just hit.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
But we do have to talk about how we came up with the name. Because I think that's kind of cool, too. Because we'll bring up, obviously we're going to talk about urban pause. We've got all day.
Yeah.
I'm the boss. We don't have to go back to work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the things... So we were sitting down in the office. It was all of us. It's Mike, my father-in-law, Rodrigo. Everybody knows Rodrigo because they know me from the limo show. Tariq, who was one of my chauffeurs, who worked for us, is now our internal graphic designer, whatever you want to call him. He does all our tech stuff. And then we had Chris from my Amazon side, Dave from my Amazon side, and Dustin, right?
Yeah.
And we were all sitting. Everybody was throwing out names.
We were trying so hard, and it wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening because what we would do is I would say a name or somebody would say a name, and then you would look up online to see if there was a podcast already.
Right.
Pretty much everything we came up with.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some really good ones too.
Oh, they were perfect.
Do you remember Chris? I think Chris's was like the best one.
No, it was Mike's. Words in 3D.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
That was the good one.
That was the good one. But no, Chris came up with one like right off when we first started.
I can't remember what it was.
Dude, and we all just started laughing.
Yeah.
And it was like a perfect fit. And then we were like, no, taken.
Yeah.
But then we came up here and we hung out with one of our future guests, Dave from Food Origins.
Yep.
He's got a wonderful podcast. If you got a moment, go check him out. He's on all the socials, all the all the places where you can get the podcasts. Again, Food Origins. It's great.
Yeah.
He's a former SF cop who got out. Solid dude. We randomly met him at the Overwatch Collective.
Right.
And
that's another pod.
Oh, that's another podcast we're gonna have. So if you haven't checked Overwatch Collective, take a moment and find them on all the social media. They are a wonderful nonprofit that actually were the reasons
Wow.
we started Urban Pause.
We can talk for years with this one.
Yeah, this one, but we won't get into that. We'll talk about them a little later.
Yeah.
But what was really cool is we were sitting here with him, and we started talking, and it was just like this random. I mean, you know the story. You repeat the story better than I do.
Well, you were sitting across from us, and you were talking to Dave, and I think it was either Rodrigo or Tariq and I were sitting in these chairs, and you were like, Dave, you know how I am, man. I'm kind of scattered. And I went, that's it.
That's
scattered.
Right.
Scattered. And you said, yeah, I'm just kind of chaotic. And then you said scattered chaos.
Right.
And that was the moment. I think Tariq got it on film at some point.
Yeah, we have it somewhere. We'll have to throw the video up.
It was very organic, which was cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, in reality, that's me. And anybody who knows me, I'm like all over the place all the time. And it's like the randomest things, you know, everybody says, you know, how do you come up with your ideas? It's super random.
Yeah.
Super random.
But
and
that's the best way, I think.
But it's these kind of conversations that I love to have because, you know, the thing is when it's controlled like a workspace, everybody thinks that they need to be a certain way at work. And I have a culture here where, you know, like just freely speak. We definitely joke a lot. Our HR department hates us. Thank God we fired them all. So we don't even have an HR department anymore because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we decided, okay, we're gonna build out this podcast room. We got everything here. We're missing some stuff. We're gonna have some cool stuff coming in that are a little bit behind, so you'll start seeing the background's gonna be a little bit different. But it's gonna be a really cool place for not just myself, but some really cool people to be able to communicate with the masses. And you know, the reason I wanted to do this intro was to kind of come back to what we were doing before. Yeah. And you weren't around for that. I was just doing that over Zoom.
I watched it though.
Oh, you did?
I did watch it.
You
did.
did.
Yeah.
And so this one is important to me. Urban Pause.
Yeah. This is a good one.
Yeah. So I didn't really want to fucking go into like this sappy thing.
This is why we're together though.
Right.
Like this is why I came back to you.
Yeah, this is brought us together.
Yeah.
And we'll talk on another episode about Jeff's experience in life and where he is today and how we've kind of aligned ourselves as not just coworkers, but like really good support, great friends. Everything that we had before is just now magnified,
right? Because
now we see each other 5 days a week.
Yeah.
But when Urban Pause was just a thought in my head, it actually came in like when I was at the Overwatch Collective's event in Half Moon Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking around and everybody, so if you don't know who Overwatch Collective is, they are an amazing nonprofit that helps fund first responders and vets who need therapy.
Yeah, any type of outreach therapy.
Any kind of thing. It's not just on PTSD, it's everything.
Right.
And
amazing.
They're a solid group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg, you have Kelsey, you have Greg's mom's there too.
Jesse's parents.
Jesse's parents are involved.
Yeah.
And they've developed something that is very worth supporting. And after, we supported them by being the host or the main sponsor for the event. One of the main sponsors from Urban Worldwide did that. And then when we were there, I just started noticing dogs. There was only 2 or 3 dogs. And one of them was a service dog, but he was a German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought of German Shepherds as service dogs. And I don't know if I would, quote unquote, think that is wrong for me to think that way. Because I kind of put them in the same boat as a Belgian Malinois they're a little bit easier to tame compared to nutcases, what we call Belgian Malinois.
Yeah, Maligators.
They're
good.
But when we were at the event, I remember leaving, my marketing girl who was working for us at the time, Virginia, we were walking out and I said, I have this crazy idea. And she looked at me, she says, please, no more ideas. Like every day was an idea. And the next thing I know is I go home and I go, Jenny, we're doing this. And she's like, what are we doing? I'm like, we're going to do Urban Pause. And she was like, oh my God, this would be great. But how are we going to do it?
Right.
And so it all started from there. And I mean, you kind of know the story where we ended up connecting with Marty Mahon and Chris Devon from Trident K9.
Right.
They're both South City police officers.
Right.
One of them.
Marty's lieutenant. And
Chris is still a handler, right?
Handler, yeah.
And so we met with them at our office. And then they introduced us to Dana Fruman, who is our breeder, but she's also a partner in the company of ours. And then it kind of just all started rolling. And then I remember I was telling my wife, I was like, I need to find somebody to help me because there's no way I'm going to be able to take this on.
Yeah.
And we brought in a friend. That kind of didn't work out just because I think we weren't really prepared yet. And then I remember saying to Jenny, like, I know who I need to call. And I remember seeing you at the Giants game.
Right.
During the summer. And I said to her, I think I need to ask Jeff if he'd come work for me.
Right.
And she's like, he's not going to leave that job, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you never know. Let's just ask.
Yeah.
And it was a couple calls.
Yeah.
We met each other at the office. And then you started when? Do you remember the date?
February 1st.
February 1st, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, because that's right, because we offered it in January and you said, give me a month
To retire
my
dog.
the dog.
Yeah.
And we love Taco. Taco is our office dog too. He is a 7-year-old, 8-year-old
lab,
lab.
English yellow lab. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's exactly like our dogs.
Yeah.
But he is definitely not 8 years old. He
No,
thinks he's like 2 years old.
Very puppyish.
He's very.
I'm lucky.
Yeah, he's super fun to be around. He's
Yeah.
a little scatterbrained like our puppies. And so November 22nd, Dana Fruman whelped 7 dogs.
Right.
Unfortunately, the runt didn't make it.
Yeah.
Who was going to be mine?
Little blue. Right?
Yeah, Little Blue,
Yeah.
Ruben the Blue. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So Jenny was it was a little rough for Jenny. And then we we went over there as they were puppies. And Blue, he was now the new Blue.
Right.
Zero
Right.
was like, he just kind of looked at me and I was like, there's something about this dog. And I told Dana, I'm like, this is going to be my dog. And she's like, let's just wait. Let's see how they grow, because as they get bigger, you're going to see how you're going to be able to handle.
Right.
Zero was, I swear to God, I think Zero was the runt. Because he was
Well, he was for a little while.
Yeah, he was the smallest out of all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then boom.
He's sprouted now.
Sprouted now. He's like, I
Absolutely.
think he's close to 55 pounds. He has to be.
Yeah, he's gotten big.
He's gotten big. He's really
Definitely.
tall, which is kind of cool. He's not like I think the other dogs are a little shorter and they're stockier.
Yeah.
Where he's more tall and thinner.
Yeah.
Which is nothing like
Good
his
stature.
father. Nothing like me at all. I'm not tall and thin at all.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I know. I'm good. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I mean-
Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, we can edit it.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
don't edit that one. But so we brought you on as the director of fundraiser, which you never have done before.
No, I've never been involved in a nonprofit director of fundraising, asking people for money. No way, ever.
So
No.
I know you were retiring. I mean, obviously, change of pace.
Oh,
I mean, obviously you did take a pay cut,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I mean,
Don't tell my wife.
I won't. She's not listening.
She's not listening. She won't hear this.
No, edit this one for
Yeah.
sure. What was that key thing saying, yeah, I'm going to do this?
Quite honestly, the last job I had was as a supervisor. It was brutal. No work-life balance. Just no time for myself. Stress levels were through the roof. I felt more stressed doing that last job than I did as a cop, as a supervisor.
Wow.
So it was bad, and it was taking its toll on my physical, mental health, and the family.
Yeah.
So the goal was always January 24th, Taco's 8th birthday.
Okay.
So I was able to get that done, get him retired, and it just, I don't know how our paths crossed again and the communication happened. The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
And I knew, and you were telling me, hey, this isn't that place. This isn't that job.
Right.
It won't be that way. Just trust me.
Right.
And it's been everything, that I've been asking for and looking for. So,
But I also think, obviously, thank you for that comment. But I think that it's the people that we work with
100%.
that make it this. It's
Yeah.
not just me, because everybody has to buy into my craziness and the way I do things, right?
Right.
And so it's important for people who come work for me to be kind of on that same level. And I knew when I worked for you before how much fun we had.
We did have a lot of fun.
Yeah, as my sergeant. And that was my first experience of having a sergeant, or second, because my first experience was with Nacho Reyes from Broadmoor. And
Remember Nacho?
I remember coming to Burlingame and not having the greatest of experiences with bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working for you. And then
That's a really nice way that you put that.
I'll be
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know what lawyers are going to be listening to this.
You're above it now.
Yeah, I'm way above
Way
it.
above
Way
it.
above it. But it was really important to take what I learned from you and other people too. I mean, throughout the last 10 years, I've had to learn how to one manage from 2 people all the way up to 150 people.
Right.
And so you have to like, I have to sell to them why they should work for me.
I don't think you have to work that hard at it though. You
Yeah.
know, because it sells itself.
Yeah.
I wasn't even working for you the night that you invited me to the party.
Yeah, but I think it was easier because you knew me a
Well,
little bit.
I didn't know Rodrigo. I didn't know any of the people.
That's true.
And their story, his story in particular, which you need to have him on as
We're
a
going to
pod.
have a pod. He's
Yeah,
like,
he's
definitely-
hesitant, but he needs to do
He
it.
might be my next one.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it yet.
His
but
story emotionally hit my wife and I.
Yeah.
Just,
amazing.
I mean, he is the American dream. That's
100%.
what it is.
I agree. 100%.
And you gave him that opportunity. And
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is Dave. I know you as a cop.
Right.
But you're now a successful businessman who people are looking at going, holy shit, man, this guy moves fast. I mean, even the guys that are coming in here and doing work at the warehouse on electrical stuff, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, this guy doesn't slow down, does he?
No.
He just keeps moving. I said, yeah, and that's why he's doing as well as he's doing.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't wait around for it to happen.
I just can't because I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I realized now, and granted, fortunate, you know, COVID hurt us really bad.
Yeah, but you survived.
But we survived. We pivoted. We went to Amazon and things were great there.
Right.
And it's now been able to do a lot for us. So, you know, going back to Urban Pause, it was kind of the thing that like, I laugh, and this is going to be funny for me because I can say it, but the only gift that law enforcement gave me was PTSD.
That's the truth, brother.
It is the
I'm
fucking
with you.
truth. I don't care.
100% truth.
You know, I know a lot of officers who've worked 30, 40 years and don't have PTSD. I don't know if they just don't want to acknowledge
they're
it.
lying to you.
They're lying,
Yeah,
right? And I
absolutely.
give them all the credit for being able to just live with it.
Yeah.
And it just got to a point where I couldn't live with it anymore.
And it's not a badge of shame.
It was. I
Well,
remember.
sure it was.
Dude, I remember the day, the time that Jenny and I were in couples therapy,
Mhm.
trying to just build our relationship.
Yeah.
And I remember the therapist turned to me and said, Dave, you have PTSD. I'm like,
Yeah. Huh?
who the fuck? What?
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't hit me until I got in the car and I said to Jenny, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And like, I remember the therapist was amazing, got me in touch with Dr. Gerald Puck, who is my EMDR therapist.
Oh, thank God
That,
for
like,
EMDR.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's another,
That's a whole
nother thing.
Yeah.
But within 3 or 4 weeks, I had my first session with him. And I remember just every day saying, does it say PTSD on my forehead? Because
Yep.
I just thought everybody looked at me differently.
Oh.
It was the craziest thing. Like, you don't understand how hard it is when you're getting thrown into this without even understanding. I didn't even know I knew what PTSD was, but I didn't know, like,
We knew it from the veterans, from the soldiers that are
Yeah.
in war.
yeah, how does an officer who worked off and on for 15 years, who, you know, I don't think I experienced a lot. I don't, but a lot of people say I did. And I remember, not funny, but it is funny, my mother-in-law, every, like, you know, Tuesday we went to dinner at the house, and she would be like, I would tell the stories, and she would look at me like,
You're crazy.
yeah, how in the fuck are you not crazy?
yeah.
Like, something's not right here.
Right.
And we were taught from day one, you know, compartmentalize. Hard word.
Multi-syllables, take it slow and breathe.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We talked about this in the car yesterday. I told Rodrigo that was like the hardest word. I'd be on compartment. And so now I'm like, compartmentalize.
Perfect.
It's perfect, but it
Wow.
sounds pretty stupid when I say it that way. Okay, back to what I see.
No,
I scatterbrained.
Exactly. No, I think back when we were, especially in the generation that trained us,
There it is.
that's where it came from to us.
Yes.
And I never will forget a call of a Sid's death that I had to handle. And my oldest daughter was a newborn.
Oh,
Walked in, saw it, couldn't handle it. Walked out, had to ask Dean Williams to handle it for me, which he did because he understood. But I had a senior officer who will remain nameless come up to me and say, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Get back in there and handle this call. It's your call.
Right.
And I told him, hey, I got a newborn daughter. I saw my daughter in that crib. He goes, I don't care what you saw. Your job is to handle this. Get your ass back in there and relieve him. And I did.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't,
You wouldn't
you
have a
know
job.
what happens.
Right.
Right? You know what happens. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think when you put everything we've been through and, you know, go to therapy, be on medication,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And yes, it does help.
For sure.
And for some people, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But what I realized is that the one part that I was missing was a companion that could catch me when I'm falling.
Yeah.
And not falling like falling, because that's not what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
like mentally falling.
Slipping.
Because Jenny tried everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the medication does work. It works for me for sure, but I still felt something. And so when this opportunity came and we met the dogs and the dogs were growing, and then that's when chaos started.
Yeah.
And I felt, honestly, I was so happy to have you on the team, but I felt so bad for you because I was like, all right, first week, you're going to go to school. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to do all this. You're going to learn everything you need to know about nonprofit.
Yeah.
But what it did is gave you a sense of understanding of the long road we have ahead.
Yeah.
Right. And, obviously I have a very good connection with the network that I deal with, all the people that I'm friends with. Thank you to all those that have donated already. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, to say that we've raised $18,000 in, 6 months is not easy, especially in this climate, the financial climate, which we won't talk about because that's probably another topic. But the reality is that 18,000 is 18,000 more than we didn't have before.
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard to say, hey, we need your help,
right.
And to try and get somebody to understand what our mission is, who may not have PTSD or a need for service
or
dogs
any connections with law enforcement or first
or
responders.
not like law enforcement.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, right now is a climate of, a lot of people don't like law enforcement for
Right.
whatever reason. We're not going to get into the politics of that. But I mean, you have people who don't have any connections with military. You have no connections with first responders. We've actually brought in, even kind of from the beginning, we said first responders also include nurses because we do, or doctors, because we do feel they're just as important as all of us, for the sake of PTSD and what they see on a daily basis. But I think that as we've started, now we're 6 months in, 7 months in officially,
right?
And actually, no, not officially, because
well, it's more than that if you consider November 22 when
but we couldn't start fundraising, you remember?
Right, until we got the
501, which was April, right?
Yeah.
So if we were talking April, May, June, 3 months of fundraising, we've raised $18,000.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing.
Thank you. You make me feel better.
Yeah, see?
I always feel like I'm not getting enough from people, and that's my goal, is to fund it.
Right.
To let it be funded so we can do what we need to do and get everything taken care of.
And it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, man.
So we have 5 dogs. We have Beretta. We have Nellie, which is Benelli.
Benelli.
Right. And then we have Smith and Wesson.
Yep.
And Zero.
Correct.
Right. And so those 5 dogs, we named them after guns, which is kind of
weird.
It was the weirdest thing, but it actually is. It actually spawned off of Dana's daughter, who is a San Mateo police officer, canine handler. And Kayla was like, "Why don't we name them after dogs?" And we were like, "Okay." So we started naming after dogs, and it was like, "Oh wow, we could come up with some really cool names."
Yeah.
But if you look back now, I don't know how great that decision was. Only because, you're talking about, unfortunately, guns and people with depression, anxiety. Some people use guns for the wrong reasons, that kind of thing. But that's not our intention.
But there's also some comfort, too, because they're used to that.
Right.
Especially the people that we have.
That we're dealing with.
And all the names have morphed into something else.
Oh, my God.
And so Smitty and Wes, Zero, Nelly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. And so we have right now 2 recipients.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I keep hitting this. Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy's amazing.
He's 75, 74.
I think he's 75, Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, many years.
Yeah.
Did a couple tours.
Yeah.
Had,
acute PTSD.
Yeah.
Acute anger issues.
It was bad.
It was real bad. And plus all the physical ailments that he's facing.
Yeah.
Even now.
I mean, it was crazy because I met him. So Butch, who works for me.
Right.
Or with me, not for me. With me. He had his birthday party at an Italian restaurant in South City. And that's the first time I ever met Jimmy. I never knew him. He knew my dad. He knew my dad for years and years. I've never met the guy. We're sitting there and we're talking about the project. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been trying with the VA for like 5
Right.
years or 6 years now. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, the VA can't get enough dogs or don't have the resources. I'm like, oh, so my brain started working like, okay, this is another avenue that we need to tap into, right?
Right.
And I remember going home and I said, I think I found my first recipient.
Yeah.
And I kept in touch with him a couple of days, and then Dana met Jimmy, and she fell in love with him.
Yeah.
And then we were sitting around, and there came Carlos.
Oh,
Ricerdo.
yeah. Well, you have history with Carlos.
I do.
Other than us working with his sister.
Which is super crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's super crazy. Yeah. So he and I and his twin brother
Right.
did Gang Task Force together.
Right.
And I remember meeting them, and I remember, I think his brother's Jaime.
Jaime. Yeah.
He is.
Mhm.
So I remember meeting Carlos, and Carlos was this like well-spoken. You know how he is. He has this
Yeah.
really cool tone.
Yeah.
Like and Jaime is like the complete opposite.
Right.
He's like more like me.
Yeah.
Super like
let's go.
Let's go do
Yeah.
our thing. And then obviously his story is
Oh, yeah.
rough.
Incredible.
And hopefully one day I'll be able to get him on here because I think it's a story of not giving up. I mean, to lose your
100%.
leg
Yeah.
and say, I'm not fucking getting out of the career that I love.
Well, there was a time in 2018 when that happened, when people thought he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It was-
period.
it was
let
bad.
alone go back to work.
Right.
So kudos to him for fighting
Hell yeah,
through
fuck
it
yeah.
and being probably an example for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know,
And, we just had KPIX news here,
right?
which you can talk a little bit about
Sure,
first,
yeah,
and then I'll
yeah.
talk about why I brought that up. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. Had a connection via Facebook with Julia Goodrich from KPIX, and just on a whim, I said, "Hey, I'm going to hit her up, see if she wants to do a story on Urban Paws." And she's a huge animal lover, local, was all over it. So she came down. Yeah, it was good. I the only thing that I regret is you weren't here. You were traveling for business.
I was.
But she came down, interviewed us, videotaped the dogs, watched a semi-training session.
Yep.
Put out a really nice story this past weekend and this morning again. They ran it again this morning.
Yeah, I heard every day they've played it so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
So
is-
it's awesome.
That's awesome for us.
For local, I think Tariq and I were talking about it earlier or maybe it was Rodrigo and I, about local news.
Yeah.
KPIX has kind of been the one that everybody's watched for years.
Mhm.
So there was some really good connection there.
Yeah.
And now the traction is starting. We're seeing responses from it.
Yep.
People said, "Hey, I saw you. I saw your dogs. What can I do?" So amazing.
Yeah,
I
we owe it a lot to her.
She's amazing. I told her she's part of the Urban family for life.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's definitely special to have something like that.
Yeah.
I will make fun of you though, because I didn't realize.
This is my warehouse.
Right, I didn't
don't you
realize
forget
that
it.
I don't pay rent for this warehouse that we're in here. The whole interview, probably 3 times. Jeff's.
It was only 2.
It was twice.
It was,
He's counted.
and I cringed both
And
times.
it's the lady says Jeff's garage.
Jeff Downs' warehouse.
Jeff Downs' warehouse, and I'm
Ah.
sitting and watching it with Jim. I'm like, this motherfucker tried to take credit.
Dude.
This piece of shit. I can't believe he did it. I did it on purpose.
cringed, dude. I cringed so bad.
It was the best. It's
When
the best.
she said that, dude, I was like, "Oh no!"
It's
I
good-
knew the amount of shit I was
you're
going
gonna
to
get.
take.
You have to. There's no. It's gonna be a while till I let this
Oh,
one go.
yeah, well, no, cops always forget, right?
No, I'm about
Yeah.
to put a sign on the door that says Jeff's garage.
Please don't. God, I'll never live this down.
No, but I think, obviously kudos to you for having that connection. And, that's big for us. Obviously every kind of traction that we can get is powerful.
Yeah.
It's important because we all, we're just a small nonprofit. We're just starting out. And we've been around for 6 months as a company, but really to fundraise, we've only been allowed 3 months.
It's huge. I was very surprised when she said she'd do it,
Yeah.
and I was even more pleased with the piece.
She did a great job.
But I think, it kind of showcased the big picture too,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of black cars behind it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of atmosphere of feeling comfortable.
Yep.
And that was something I took away from that. It was easy. It was easy,
And I brought it up because we were talking about Carlos, and I don't
Yeah.
know if in the piece you noticed, Wesson.
Yeah,
Yes,
Wes. Yeah.
Wesson reacted to Carlos.
So you only saw part of that.
Right. I didn't even see. I remember hearing about this, but watching Wesson react to Carlos, who appeared to be having a moment
Yeah.
or a bad day, you realize that even at 7.5 months old, these dogs are a lot smarter than most people most people think.
That was the second alert.
Really?
That Dana and I didn't even see that part.
Okay.
When Carlos was standing and being interviewed, he was talking about his son and his son's illness.
Okay.
And Wes was sitting down next to him, got up and started.
Pause. Sponsored by Fiji Water. Sorry, I had to do.
Get your Fiji water today.
Live.
Here.
Scared
Now.
Chaos.
Yes.
Chaos.
Got to work on the sponsorships.
Mhm.
So Wes was rubbing against his legs, going in and out of his legs, looking up at him. And Carlos looked down, didn't correlate it.
Really?
And Dana and I kind of looked at each other and were like, oh, wow, that was an alert. Because he was very emotional about the story.
Yeah. That story with his son. I mean,
Oh,
it's heartbreaking, but thank God.
the amount of things that he and his family have been through.
Yeah.
Just, you don't wish that upon anybody. And they're such amazing people.
Oh, the whole family. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to meet his wife and,
Yeah.
and one of the kids, and definitely a great family. We couldn't have asked for two great recipients.
We're very blessed.
Yeah.
And they're engaged.
Super
They
involved.
want to be involved. Carlos puts a lot aside. Jimmy, at the drop of a hat, will show up and do his thing.
He loves coming
He
over. here.
loves it. And he loved interviewing with Juliet.
Yeah.
His smile.
He-
She loved his smile.
I mean, he is.
He's a lady killer.
He's a lady killer.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
it too. I mean, he even tells us that.
Yeah.
So that,
Well, yeah.
he says it in
It's
a
a
different
little
way.
different way.
Yeah. We've had to talk
He's
about
a
HR.
Vietnam vet, you know?
But then we have two fosters
Yes.
that are with two of the dogs. So we are still looking for more recipients.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how
Yeah.
we choose?
Yeah, there's a vetting process that we do after the application, which you can do on our website. Send us the form. It goes to Dana initially, and then you and her will talk. Then we'll all talk about the applicant. I was lucky enough to be on the last call because you were traveling
Mm-hmm.
with a potential recipient who, in my opinion, needs a dog right now.
Right.
Seemed like a really, really good guy, but had gone through a lot in his life. Jumpy on the call, which was very interesting to me. I hadn't seen that in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've both experienced the loud noise things.
Sure.
I just spoke on the call, and it startled this young man. So he's there, and
Yeah.
he needs somebody to be there with him. So I think he's a good recipient. But yeah, if you want to apply to be a recipient or a foster, it's all on our website. We get the information, we vet it, we talk about it. We want to get people that truly will engage in the program, will be part of the mission, help us perpetuate the mission, spread the word, get more people involved, and help us and get more dogs out there. Because ultimately, yeah, if we help one person, if I help you with the dog, you help me with the dog, mission accomplished. Right?
Yeah.
But that's not where we want to end.
No, I mean, it's funny because I remember Marty and Chris and Dana and I were sitting here talking. They're like, so what's your end goal? I said, well, you don't want me to tell you that now. I mean, because my end goal would be, yearly 10 dogs a year,
Right.
which
That's lofty.
that's lofty,
Yeah.
especially learning what we're learning now.
Right.
This process, I mean, we do things very different.
Yes, we do.
And this has been a good and bad thing, but it's a learning experience. And we have to, take what we've gone through and figure out, okay, how to do it better next time.
Well, coming into this, the way the process that you guys had determined, I had never heard of that before.
Right.
Having a recipient actually train their own service dog.
Yep.
I do see the value in it, though.
Sure.
The early bonding.
Yep.
Friend for life. This is my dog. You're my best friend.
Right.
Traditional service dog organizations do it. Hey, I'll train the dog for you. You're on a waiting list for 13 to 18 months, maybe.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Right.
If you're through the VA, good luck at all.
Right.
Which is horrible, and we hope to help that process.
Yep.
But this process, I think, with the right participants, which is why we vet, will be successful.
I agree.
There's going to be lots of hurdles because you're taking regular Joes and telling them, hey, you're going to be a dog trainer.
Right.
But then you tell them what you do with this dog strictly is going to benefit you in the long run.
Right. And I think that, obviously we're going through hurdles right now because it's summertime and we're all busy and everybody's doing things. But, watching Jimmy and watching Carlos with the dogs, even with me, I mean, Zero now is like when I'm not home and he's not with me, I'm like, there's a piece of me missing.
Oh yeah.
Like I totally bond with him now.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jenny. I mean, Jenny, like I bring the dog here. Jenny texts me, "How is he?" I miss him.
Aw.
I mean, because we built this bond with
Yeah.
him already.
Yeah.
And so watching it with Jimmy and watching it with Carlos, you realize that this process, though very, very difficult
Yeah.
in the beginning, because this is all new to all of us, I think will turn out to be an amazing, if we can master it, this could be super amazing.
I don't know if we ever want to master it, because I think if we continue to learn it, we're going to be better for it.
Sure.
Mastery would be amazing, because then we'd be crushing it.
Crushing it.
It's hard. Dogs are hard.
Yeah.
It's worse than a child
I agree.
in a lot of respects. But
and I don't have kids.
well, but the bond you have
Right.
with the dog, that's forever loyal.
Right.
That dog looks at you as like you are his life or her
Right.
life.
Right. Right.
And I think that's the thing that is so important is, okay, when Joe Schmo is failing me as a friend or whatever, I can't get the help I need, I can't talk to somebody today.
Right.
I got my dog.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go out to the beach.
Just sit outside.
Just sit outside and play, throw the ball.
I sit on the lawn with Zero so often in the front of our place.
Yeah.
Just because I want to be outside, and he, he's still young. He wants to
He's a
run.
kid.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
But you can just tell that he understands it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Of course.
And it's been a fun project. I think we have a lot to learn.
Of course.
I think all of us that are involved, we're in it for the right reason.
You have to be.
Yeah.
There's a buy-in with this that you can't just say, okay, this month we're going to do this project.
Right.
Once we get it, we're done. This is a lifetime thing for recipients.
100%.
Lifetime of the dog.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's shorter than human lives, but
Right.
it is a buy-in that you have to have,
Yeah.
period.
And I think that, you just brought it up kind of morbidly that, it's short life, dog life.
No, it's
right?
terrible how short they are.
It sucks. But the fact that we get to be with them from
Yeah.
8, 12 weeks,
Yeah.
that gives us that much longer of time with them.
Yeah.
And that's special. I mean, that's really special.
I
mean, I definitely know that there are a lot of places that do the training first, like you talked about. And that's great, and that works for them. But it takes so much longer for the recipient to feel the effects of what this dog could do for them.
And they don't know what they're getting.
They don't. Now we get, and the cool thing is Dana's been really good about seeing what dogs are good with others. I mean,
Right.
we had to make a change,
We did,
unfortunately.
right?
And look how great Jimmy is with Nellie now.
100% difference.
Right. Sorry.
Big improvement.
Sorry, not Nellie. She's with Beretta.
A Beretta.
Beretta,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
mixed up with
It's
all of
okay.
them.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, going back to, what we hope, obviously it takes a lot of money to breed, take care of these dogs with dog food. They're already changing their crates to
They're
bigger
growing
crates.
fast.
They're growing fast. And so, we love if anybody can come support us. You did talk about our
Please.
website. It's urbanpawssf.org. So urbanpawssf.org. And I'll make sure Tariq puts it on the bottom and anywhere to find it so you can click on it.
And we got a GoFundMe rolling.
Oh.
We got a YouTube channel. We got a Threads.
We got to talk about the
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
event.
Yeah. We got all the socials rolling right now,
Yeah.
so you can get us there. We got Linktree set up. You can donate on the webpage. And the best part is you can kind of keep up with us. We're adding photos and videos.
Mhm.
We're going to get an email listing set up on there so you can sign up for information. But the best part is we're working toward a fundraiser in August. And I know it's near and dear to our heart because
Yeah.
the items that we got, this man over here is connected. I'll just say that. We got some.
Not like that.
Well,
Don't, FBI,
yeah,
please
he's
do
not
not come
a
to me.
made guy.
Yeah, I'm not a made guy. Okay.
But he's got connections in the industry along with Butch, one of your drivers and cohorts. We got some amazing auction items coming.
Yeah.
And we already have some in hand. And I'll give you a taste if you like music.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm going to give you a taste.
You got
I've
it.
been putting a taste out on the
I
socials,
know.
just a little bit here
Right.
and there. Carlos Santana autographed guitar, okay? His Africa, I think it's Africa Remembrance edition.
Yep.
So it's custom art. We're working on Metallica.
Yep.
James Hetfield and what's Kurt
Hammett.
Hammett
Mm-hmm.
potentially getting us guitars. I know you had mentioned something, maybe Billy Idol. We're waiting on that
Yeah,
one.
we're waiting on that one.
Got a Tom Brady football
Yep. Signed.
signed. We've got a signed Logan Webb, San Francisco Giants All-Star Baseball with some tickets, with a bobblehead from Matt Cain's Perfect Game, and some other, memorabilia from the Giants. Let's see. We've got a Napa bus trip to sample wine.
Sponsored by Urban Worldwide.
Urban Worldwide. That's www.urbanworldwide.com.
That's good. That was good.
That was good.
That was
dude.
really good.
Yeah.
There's like total, like, we didn't even plan that.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Keep going.
I mean,
No, that's what we're doing.
chaos.
Nothing's planned.
Chaos. Yeah, and then we've got some other smaller items. Not that they're any less important. We've got some gift cards coming from Pet Food Express.
Yep.
We've got Sports Basement giving us some stuff. We've got a $600 photography session with Soulful Pet Photography in the East Bay. Some other stuff that I'm probably forgetting.
2 tickets to George Lopez's
George
Nest
Lopez
comedy tour.
Yeah.
He's a good, I would say, client, friend. To me and both.
We're answering each other's sentences.
It's getting a little weird. Okay, dude. You're married. I'm married. Chill.
This is strange.
Stranger things have happened in this office. But
Don't ask.
And then we got the fighting mitt.
Oh yeah, John Jones autographed, fight worn UFC 285 glove.
Yep.
That's badass.
Yeah. So Rodrigo and I went to our first UFC fight, and then we ended up going to a club where everybody was, and his manager came over and handed it to me and said thank you, because we took care of some stuff for them while they're in Vegas. So it was cool. We have that. We're trying to get more. If anybody wants to donate, to the cause, please. You could email Jeff at jeff@urbanpaussf.org. And you could also reach out to me directly, Dave at urbanworldwide.com. I also have the Dave at urbanpaussf.org.
Yeah.
And most of you already have my cell phone number, so if there's something you want to donate for, it's 100% a write-off.
Yep. I'll send you a donor letter. Whatever you send, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah, we're certified.
I think that's it.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Our first podcast.
Urban Pause, please support us, because somebody you love may need that help.
Yeah.
Or somebody they love may need that help. So support us. Reach out. This guy right here has got a heart of gold.
Thank you.
And has started a program that is worthy of everybody's attention and money. $5, $500, 5,000. It doesn't matter. You're helping someone somewhere. So yeah, thanks for letting me talk about it.
Yeah, dude.
And thank you for starting it and giving me a chance to help with it.
Yeah, and
I appreciate
I'm super excited. You're here with the team. You're here with the family.
Yeah,
obviously, you've gotten closer with me and Jenny, and now with Rock too. And so
absolutely.
Raquel, sorry, Rock. I call her Rock too.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. So thanks everybody for watching our first episode of Scattered Chaos Podcast. I'm Dave Uziel. This is Jeff Downs, and we are out.
Later.
This is good music. Kind of feel like I want to just. Not bad.